Class 11th, Subject Physics, 12th chapter Magnetism. From this chapter, let us see first introduction of this chapter. The process of attracting iron materials by a substance is called as magnetism. The process of attracting iron materials by a substance is called as magnetism, and the substance which attracts iron materials is called as a magnet. The substance which attracts iron materials is called as a magnet. The earth is considered as a weak magnet. Now let us see what are the magnetic lines of forces and their properties. The path along which a unit north pole moves when placed in magnetic field is called as magnetic line of force. The path along which a unit north pole moves when placed in magnetic field is called as magnetic line of force. So, for a bar magnet consisting of two poles N and S, these curves starting from north pole and ending on S pole will be representing the magnetic line of force. So all these curves which are directed from N pole to S pole will represent the magnetic lines of forces, and for this bar magnet, and therefore let us see the properties of these magnetic lines of forces. First, the magnetic lines of forces originate from north pole and end on the south pole. So these magnetic lines of forces are originating from north pole and ending on south pole. Second, the lines of forces, that is the magnetic lines of forces of a magnet, form closed loops. So these magnetic lines of forces will form the closed loops. Magnetic lines of forces form the closed loops. Third, the direction of net magnetic field B at a point is given by the tangent to the magnetic line of force at that point. So if you consider any magnetic line of force, then the net magnetic field at any point along this magnetic line of force will be given by a tangent drawn to that magnetic line of force at that point. Then fourth characteristic will be the number of lines of force crossing per unit area. The number of lines of force crossing per unit area decides the magnitude of magnetic field B. So the number of magnetic lines of forces crossing per unit area will decide the magnitude of magnetic field at that point. Then fifth, the magnetic lines of force do not intersect each other. The magnetic lines of forces do not intersect each other or do not cross each other. So these are some of the properties of these magnetic lines of force. So for this bar magnet, all these properties will be valid for these magnetic lines of force. Then let us see the next point, that is magnetic field vector B. What is that magnetic field? That is vector B. So the number of lines of force, the number of magnetic lines of force is called as magnetic flux phi. The magnetic flux is nothing but the number of magnetic lines of force. So a bunch of magnetic lines of forces will be called as the magnetic flux phi, and the magnetic flux phi per unit area A is called as magnetic field. The magnetic flux per unit area is called as magnetic field. So the definition of magnetic field is the magnetic flux per unit area. that is magnetic flux per unit area is called as magnetic field, and therefore for magnetic field the formula will be magnetic flux upon area, that is magnetic flux per unit area, that is vector B will be equal to phi upon A, where phi will represent magnetic flux, A will be the area, so B will be equal to phi by A, or from this formula phi will be equal to B into A. Phi will be equal to B into A. The SI unit of magnetic field B is Weber per meter square, where Weber is the unit of magnetic flux and meter square is the unit of area. Therefore, the SI unit of magnetic field B is Weber per meter square, or it is called as Tesla. It is Tesla, and 1 Tesla equal to 10 raised to 4 Gauss. 1 Tesla equal to 10 raised to 4 Gauss. So this will be the relation between these two units of magnetic field, Tesla and Gauss. And now let us see the next point, that is bar magnet. What is that bar magnet? So the bar magnet has, if you consider like this any bar magnet, then the bar magnet has North Pole and South Pole as the two poles. It will be having two poles, North Pole and South Pole, separated by a finite distance. The distance of separation between these two poles will be finite. So in this diagram we will consider North Pole and South Pole. They will be separated by the distance 2L. So from North Pole to South Pole, the distance between them will be equal to 2L, and therefore each pole S as well as N from the center of the magnet O will lie at a distance equal to L. So these poles of the magnet are not exactly situated at the two ends of that magnet, but they are slightly inside the two ends, and therefore at a short distance inside the ends, these two poles N and S poles will be situated, and the distance between them will be 2L. Similarly, the North Pole is having its pole strength equal to plus Qm, and the pole strength of the S pole is minus Qm. That means North Pole will be considered as positive, South Pole will be considered as negative, and Qm and minus Qm are the pole strengths of N and S poles respectively. Similarly, this vector M will represent magnetic dipole moment. It will represent magnetic dipole moment, which is always directed from S pole to N pole, and that's why this arrow is directed away from North Pole. That is, it is a vector which is directed always from S pole to N pole. Now, as the distance of separation between North Pole and South Pole is 2L, as it is 2L, which is also called as magnetic length. So distance of separation between N and S poles, that is magnetic length, denoted by 2L. From this, the magnetic dipole moment is defined as, the product of pole strength of one pole, that is Qm, and the magnetic length of the bar magnet 2L. So Qm into 2L will represent the magnetic dipole moment, and therefore this magnetic dipole moment of that bar magnet equal to Qm into 2L. So this product is nothing but the product of pole strength of one of the poles and the magnetic length of the magnet, that is magnetic dipole moment. So this will be M is equal to Qm into 2L, which is nothing but the magnetic dipole moment. Now the SI unit of pole strength is ampere meter. So for this pole strength Qm, the SI unit is ampere meter, and for magnetic length it is meter. Therefore the unit of that of magnetic dipole moment will be ampere meter square. Ampere meter square will be the SI unit for magnetic dipole moment, and for this pole strength it is ampere meter. Now the magnetic length and geometric length. So the magnetic length is nothing but the distance between the two poles of the magnet, and the geometric length is the distance between two ends of the magnet. So from this figure it is clear that the geometric length is greater than the magnetic length, because magnetic length is distance between two poles and geometric length is distance between two ends of the magnet, and these poles are always situated inside the ends, and therefore the magnetic length 2L will be given as 5/6 times its geometric length. Magnetic length 2L is equal to 5/6 times the geometric length. So this will be regarding the bar magnet. Similarly, if you consider this bar magnet, this is the line which passes through two poles of the magnet. This is the line which passes through two poles of the magnet, which is called as axis of that bar magnet. So this line will represent axis of the bar magnet, and the line perpendicular to the axis of the bar magnet and passing through its center. The line perpendicular to the axis of the bar magnet and passing through the center of the magnet is called as equator. So this horizontal line is axis of the magnet, and this vertical line represents the equator of this bar magnet. So this will be regarding the bar magnet or the structure of the bar magnet. Now we will define again axis, equator, magnetic length and magnetic dipole moment again. So the line passing through both the poles of the magnet is called as axis of the magnet. The line passing through the center of the magnet and perpendicular to its axis is called as equator of the magnet. The distance between two poles of the magnet is called its magnetic length 2L, and the distance between two ends of the magnet is called its geometric length. So now let us see the magnetic field due to a bar magnet. Magnetic field due to a bar magnet at any point. So for that purpose, let us consider a bar magnet consisting of two poles S and N, separated by a distance 2L, having their pole strengths minus Qm and plus Qm for S and N poles respectively. Now this horizontal line which passes through two poles of the magnet, that is nothing but the axis of this magnet, and the vertical line which is perpendicular to the axis and passing through the center of the magnet is equator. Now we can find the magnetic field at any point along the axis of that bar magnet as well as along the equator of the bar magnet. But simply you will have to remember directly their formulae without any proof. And therefore let us consider first of all the axis of this bar magnet. Along the axis of the bar magnet we have considered any point P here at a distance equal to R from the center of the magnet, at which we have to find out the magnetic field. And therefore let this magnetic field at point P along the axis of that bar magnet is B axis, and therefore that B axis is given by the formula mu0 upon 4 pi 2m upon r cube, mu0 upon 4 pi 2m upon r cube, where this mu0 upon 4 pi is constant in case of magnetism, whose value is 10⁻⁻⁷ SI units. And therefore along the axis of the bar magnet, B axis will be equal to mu0 upon 4 pi 2m by r cube. And similarly, if you consider any other point P again along the equator at a distance equal to r from the center of this bar magnet. Then again at this point P along the equator we can find the magnetic field B. Now that magnetic field along the equatorial point is given as B equator equal to mu 0 upon 4 pi m by r cube. B equator equal to mu 0 upon 4 pi m by r cube. So in this formula again mu 0 upon 4 pi will be constant. In magnetism, this m will represent magnetic dipole moment of that bar magnet, and r is the distance of that point P from the center of the magnet. Now if we compare these two relations, that is B axis and B equator, then B axis is mu 0 upon 4 pi 2m by r cube and B equator equal to mu 0 upon 4 pi m by r cube. Then from this it is clear that B axis is greater than B equator. B axis is greater than B equator by a factor 2. And therefore we can say that if we consider 2 points along the axis and the equator at the same distance r, then B axis is 2 times B equator. B axis is 2 times B equator, that is for same distance axial magnetic field is twice the equatorial magnetic field.